A couple of other things just to run through. Because of the large number of people on this Zoom call, we can't have people shouting out and asking questions. It will just get a bit chaotic. So for those not familiar with using Zoom, there is a little chat facility at the bottom of your screen. If you just click on the chat facility and just type in a message, I'll just quickly type in a message now. And then you should see it appear on your screen. So if you'd like to contribute, if you'd like to ask a question, please use the chat facility. And then when appropriate, I'll read it out to Jim and Phil. We'll also have a little bit of time at the end where we'll run through some of the questions. Also, it's really useful for Jim and Phil to get some feedback whilst they're explaining things and talking. And you can give feedback using the reactions button, which again is the bottom of your screen. And you can, if you see on my screen, you can see you can clap, you can put a thumbs up. If you like, Phil, you can put a heart in or something along those lines. But if you want to use some reactions, it really helps the guys when they're talking, when they're going through things. If they get, thank you for those putting their thumbs up. Appreciate that. It helps Phil and Jim. They understand that they're getting some good response. And obviously, if they crack a joke and they don't hear anything back, it's a bit hard work for them. So some thumbs ups and some claps would be useful. We've also got some suppliers on the call. These are businesses that are suppliers to the IMDA for the benefit of the members, and we may refer to them during the call for some either technical advice or maybe some pricing. If you wish to speak to them, then we suggest that you do it either via the IMDA website, via the Facebook page, or you can contact them directly yourself. So without further ado, we shall pass you across to the hosts and the two guys running this. Obviously, everyone knows, I hope, the two IMDA committee members in the form of Phil and Jim, but they'll obviously introduce themselves and their own business on what they do. Jim, Phil, over to you.
Thanks very much, and thanks to everybody for coming along. It's fantastic. 55 participants, which is a fantastic number on a Thursday morning. So thanks very much for coming along. It's great to see obviously members and supplying partners as well, which is very important to have supplying partners, I believe, involved with this as well. So who are we? Okay, so we are Jim Reid and Phil Buchan, and we are of Jim Reid Vehicle Sales and Service, based up in North East Scotland. So we're up in Aberdeenshire, and we have been selling cars in here for about 18 years, just over 18 years. Now, here's a little disclaimer for you guys, okay? We are not social media gurus. We don't profess to be social media gurus. We thought it'd be a good idea to share, because I believe that there is an appetite, and this shows that there's an appetite for motor industry dealers out there and traders to get a better insight into how to be successful with social media. Now, some of the stuff may well not work for you. What we're actually going to explain is what works for us. There'll be multiple questions at the very, very end. I'm sure there'll be plenty of questions from yourselves, and there are already questions already in, which we will obviously answer at the end. But as I say, we are not social media experts. I do believe that there are some people here from Motor Socials, which are a partner for the IMDA, and they are the partner who deals with the social media side of things for the IMDA, or they can help assist members. So it's maybe worth catching their details at the end. So in Northeast Scotland, we sell new and nearly new used cars and commercials. A fully functioning service and MOT centre. We've got a brand new valeting and detailing centre, and we've also brand new to the world of van hire. And we're the only herd hire franchise dealer in Scotland and exclusive Camper Tribe camper rentals in Scotland as well. On a side note, Herd Group are also an IMDA partner. You know, we've introduced them to the IMDA after you're being blown away with their fantastic, you know, level of service. And if you're looking for some incremental business that sits very well alongside car and van sales, it's maybe worth having a wee look at the Herd Group. So they didn't pay me for that either, by the way. So we started taking social media seriously and part of our marketing mix about 10 years ago. So that's quite a while ago. And from a standing start, we have grown our large local following and social platforms right across all of the platforms completely organically. We haven't paid for people to follow us like many have. So why are we here? You know, why have we decided that it was a good idea? So the IMDA, you know, in a committee meeting, we decided that it would be wise to put it out to members and see what they could learn from somebody who's already doing it, because we know how tough it is to balance time, you know, balance the whole, you know, the whole garage thing with customers and so on. And, you know, how much time do you put into it? And that, you know, these are questions that we've all got. So why are we here? Because you want to know, okay, if social media sells cars. And the short answer is yes, it does. It does sell cars. 46% of the vehicles that we sell annually come via social media, 46%. So before we explain what we've done over the years to gain these results and explain how we have managed without advertising on Auto Trader for almost 8 years, we don't advertise on Auto Trader at all, and we haven't done for about 8 years. I want to explain some of the basic fundamental rules which you have to get right before starting pushing social media. And these are the fundamentals. These are the absolute basics that you've got to get. And it's not that different from the basics that we've got as businesses, as a car industry. What you've got to do is you've got to understand that social media is part of marketing. It's not just advertising. Marketing and advertising are normally put together, but they are different. Okay? Advertising is part of marketing, but marketing is not just advertising. And you've got to get that completely right. You need to measure your conversion rates, and you need to understand where your leads are coming from, and you've got to measure them. You've got to understand, because it's very easy. You know, considering we haven't been with Auto Trader for, as I say, about 8 years, Phil, we still get people coming in and saying that they saw our cars on Auto Trader. Now, it's completely and utterly impossible. Okay, so if you've got your sales guys, and you know, many of you small dealers, many of you medium-sized dealers, and many of the large dealers, but if you've got salesmen just writing down Auto Trader, guess what? That's where you get to spend your money, because that's where you think, oh, your leads are actually coming from. It's not necessarily where they're actually coming from. You've got to make sure that you're actually taking notes of these. And these are obviously some of the fundamentals. Morals and ethics of your business have got to be 100%. Okay, if your customer care or stock is substandard, then you will receive a backlash via social media. You know, it's as simple as that. If you're not good at what your job is, and the people have actually bought via social media, they will be very, very good to jump straight back on you and slate you on social media. And that can be a downfall. So get your business right for a start. Make sure you can cope with the increased traffic online and offline. Okay, maybe look at somebody, you know, using somebody like Moneypenny. You know, Moneypenny are another, you know, partner of the IMDA. You know, we use Moneypenny. We don't use their live chat on the website. We do use another company for that, but they do give you that ability as well. But one of the great things about Moneypenny, for instance, is if we miss a call with customers, it will continue to ring through to them, and it's answered by a person, you know, at the end of the phone. It gives a far better reflection of your business, because it's answered by a proper person asking the right questions, and you're getting the name, and it's emailed to you. right up to 9 o'clock at night. So I mean, it's a fantastic, and you should look at something like that as well, because if you're not coping with the traffic that you actually get from social media, all you're doing is you're building it up for somebody else to take. Make sure you're prepared for out of hours social media questions and replies. We've actually changed our working hours to suit this. So we don't work traditional hours. We've changed the way we've actually worked, and we give guys days off and times off and things like that to suit, because we are still replying to social media and direct messages and so on right up until 10 o'clock at night. Okay, and you've got to be there because that's when people are actually doing it. You need a marketing plan and a social media strategy. You need to put something down in writing and stick by it. Okay, so those are the basic fundamentals. Those are the fundamentals that we stick by and we believe in. Okay, now for all of you guys out there who know me, I love an analogy. I absolutely love them. So here is my one for social media. Social media is like making beautiful, careful, like making beautiful music, okay? Just like music is made up of solitary notes, which on their own are just a single sound bite, but when all these notes are joined together, and better still in the right order, with perfect timing, then it can produce the greatest symphony or melody. Social media posts in the right order, with perfect timing, and with the right tone, can produce great social media and music to your customers' ears. Like producing music, you need a plan, you need a strategy. Your strategy needs to be right audience, right message, right content mix. The perfect audience will find other like-minded people and share your message and content for you. So it means that you've got to do less work with it. All you've got to do is find the right audience. And here's the gold. There's never been a better time to reach customers organically than now. The perfect storm is happening for organic growth. And that is because there are massive changes happening. If you've not heard about this, you need to do a bit of research. There are massive changes away to happen with privacy. And it's not GDPR, you would like to know. It is to do with privacy settings on phones. iOS 14.5 has changed, so the default is not, or you've now got the choice to get the privacy settings across, so you can actually switch that off a lot easier, so you don't get followed all around the websites. Likewise, Google Privacy Sandbox is doing exactly the same as well. So the pixels will not, the pixel when you hit the websites will not follow you, so you don't actually get as many adverts thrown in front of you. However, this means that Facebook want to do it on their own, yeah? So Facebook will want to push the quality content. If you make quality content in Facebook, for instance, they want to push that quality content in front of more people within the Facebook app. That's the benefit. Okay, so Facebook want to keep you on Facebook. So any quality content that you've got organically and it's getting eyeballs on it, let it be a video, a photograph, text, whatever it actually is, if it's getting good content and it's getting read and it's getting good feedback, it will be, Facebook will force it in front of more people. You need to use the following: a who, what, where, when, and why. So to help explain this, I'll pass that over to Phil.
Thank you very much, Jim. Hello, good morning, everybody. I hope you're all well. So just to carry on with that, so a who, what, when, where, why. Okay, so we're going to start off with the who. Now, I do actually have a PowerPoint here. I'm going to try and share it. It might not work. So we'll go share that. And you can tell me if you can see that. Yeah, give me a thumbs up or something. Give me a wave. Yeah, you can see something there. I'll just take it as a yes.
No,
Right.
with thumbs up.
We've got thumbs,
Thumbs are
right.
good. Well done, Paul.
Well, so scoot forward. So who? So one of the big things here is who's going to do the posting. That is a big part of say your social media strategy. The most efficient method is for the salespeople to do the posting. Those that are going to be the face of the business. It might be you yourself. However, if you do go down the route of having your sales team and other people in the business doing the posting, they need to have a full understanding as to why they are posting. They need to have the ability to follow up and reply to comments, messages, and the inquiries that are coming through the platforms. The other reason it's great to have these salespeople, which are the face of the company, do the posts and then taking ownership of the inquiries, is that it can get them in front of the camera, which of course gets their personality in front of the camera, which of course helps build trust with your followers, and then it makes it a lot easier when they come in to actually view the cars. With regards to who, also think about who you're targeting when you're doing your post. The content and style needs to be for the right audience, and use your team, if you've got one, to their strengths. So for example, it would be better suited for Jim here to do a well-edited test drive video on a Range Rover Velar than our 18-year-old sales trainee, Fabio. Fabio would be better suited to doing a video of a Ford Focus ST or a Ford Fiesta ST or a Polo GTI, something more in line with his own personal following. What should you be posting? Well, whatever you post, don't be afraid to post, okay? And don't worry if you don't get any interaction. We suggest you post a few different types of content. So number one, the big one, thumb-stopping images, okay? These are not stock photos from your website. Do not put up stock photos from your website. That's just a no-go. If they want to see the stock photos from your website, they'll go to your website. So these have got to be thumb-stopping images. Okay, they've got to be eye-catching and even throw them through Instagram so they can enhance the images to make them stand out. Also, putting the content through Instagram kills two birds with one stone, because you're posting Instagram and Facebook while you're just doing the one post. Try and take the car out of the usual dealership background, okay, and try to be creative. The main aim here is to stand out from the crowd. So here's a very quick top tip for photography, okay? Now, don't know if you've ever heard of this, but it's a golden ratio, okay? And the idea is, you'll see, if I go on to the next slide here, there's a focal point, third of the way down on the image and third of the way across. You want to try and have a focal point. So when you frame all your images, you want to try and show that. So there's a focal point in each of these images, and that's how you should be trying to frame the photos. That's the difference between a mediocre image and a nice image. And that's what will stand out from all those other dealers that are just doing a very quick snap and not framing it right. So that's just a very quick little top tip with regards to your photography. Okay. So, post number two, social posts and cross-pollination, okay? These are not necessarily selling posts. This is a more informative post, or maybe a news post about what you're doing as a business, okay? Maybe a wee story about what you're doing to support the local economy or local businesses. Maybe a wee story about how you're supporting a local charity or a football club or so on and so forth. Even better, try and get these people you're supporting and that are using your services to go and post on social media for you. This can be really, really powerful if it's done right. And we've got a couple of really good examples that we'll show you just shortly. And number three, video posts, okay? Well-edited, great videos will do great, and you can post them and you can boost them. However, they take time. So, to be fair, I find live posts are more beneficial. they only take the time it takes for you to actually do the video. So if it's a 3-minute live video, guess what? It'll only take you 3 minutes to do, rather than 2 hours to go and can video it and then edit it. So live is great. And one of the great things with live is that Facebook will push the notification that you've gone live to your followers. Now, having a look, there's a couple of posts there. For example, our live posts tend to normally get seen by about 1,000 to 2,000 to 3,000 people at a time, which you think that's not a huge amount, but at the same time, it's 2,000 to 3,000 people more than what's going through your forecourt at that time. You all know, obviously being in the motor trade, that you've got seconds to sell yourself when you go out to speak to people in the forecourt. Okay, so what if you've already sold yourself using video through social media? It makes things so much easier going forward when the customer comes in to view the car. There's no point in acting and putting on a show when you do the videos. You've got to be authentic and genuine, so that when people obviously come in to see the car, it's the same person. So with regards to the live side of things, Facebook Live, try choosing a time and go with that. So for example, we try and go live every single Saturday morning around about 10 o'clock. Okay, if we can, if there's customers not there, that's what we try and do. And it's amazing if we miss a Saturday. It's amazing how many people of our followers will contact us, say, "Oh, you didn't go live on Saturday." It's amazing. Okay, so it's well worth picking a time and try and go with that, and your followers will soon tuning in at that time. So when should you be posting? Well, the answer is really, really simple. It's as much as possible. You need to seize any opportunity, and it's not just about posting, but replying to any opportunity. So if you see someone asking for a recommendation for a garage to go to, jump right on it, because I bet most dealers out there can't be bothered. In regards to the actual posts, the more you post, the more likely you are to get seen. So for example, if you post in the morning, guess what? By the evening, that post is old news. So try and post it as much as possible. My aim personally for Jim Marie Vehicle Sales is collectively to post over 25 posts a day across the team and across all the platforms. Okay, that way you're more likely obviously to be in front of people a couple of times a day. And why is that important? Well, of course, if you're in front of people continuously, you're in front of their mind. So when someone asks for a recommendation, a work colleague, a family member, or a friend, and they mention that they're looking to change their car, or need to get their car MOT'd or serviced, or even a van hire, guess who's going to get the recommendation? Us. And why is that great? Because it's a recommendation. The trust is already there. So it makes it so much easier to do the business. You've just got to do what you said you're going to do, and it should be good. Also, another top tip, don't post something, don't post something really, really good at 4 to 5 on a Friday night as you're heading out the door of the office when you're ready to go to the pub for a few drinks and you're not going to be able to reply to the inquiries that are coming through.
Trust me, we've made that mistake.
I once posted a Ford Focus RS at 5 o'clock on a Friday night before I was going on a night out.
When they were going out and I was left with the phone, nightmare.
And of course, there was, there must have been 50 comments, messages coming through asking details, because of course, I didn't put a lot of details to it. I just put due and now arrived with a photo of the RS, and that was it. And of course, we were in flux of inquiries coming through asking the details of it. So details on the post is another important thing. But where should you be posting? Well, Facebook is a must, I would say, mainly because that's where your audience is. No matter what it is you're selling, there will be an audience for it on Facebook. And it's also really quite easy to use the Facebook ads to obviously advertise, to physically pay to advertise on Facebook ads. And if you don't know how to do that, there's loads of videos on YouTube showing you exactly how to do it. So check them out if you need to.
I see some of you poised with pens here. guys, see the great benefit. Here's a website. Here's a website that you've really got the, for the to-do bit, about finding out how to do things on Facebook, right? Here it is. It's www.google.com. You'll find everything on there. It's absolutely amazing. Great big place. You can punch anything in.
There you go. It's Jim's top tip for the day. So Facebook, like we say, the other places to obviously be posting is LinkedIn. Sorry, I'll go back a sec. Is Instagram. Post on Instagram. Now Instagram's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's well worthwhile. Now you can now obviously link Instagram and Facebook together with the two accounts. Do it means you're posting twice and you're only doing one post. It makes things a lot easier, so it'll get that set up. And of course, LinkedIn, give it a bash if you do have a bit of time. LinkedIn is fantastic from the point of view of it's got a really good reach if the content is right, okay? It's got as good a reach as what Facebook used to do before paid ads took over. So give that a bash if you want. With regards to Facebook, try joining some groups, okay? So local groups, buying and selling groups, local enthusiast groups, for example. If you join these groups on social media, you can get you can post in those groups about your services. We've got one locally called the Northeast Audi Club, which has got it's like 12,000 followers on it. And of course, we put in little bits every now and then. We've got a nice Audi in stock, post a wee photo in there, and just it's people that are really keen to look after their car, asking for things like 4-wheel alignment. Who's really good to go to that'll service my car, that's not going to take the mick and look after my car, Guess what? Jimmy Vehicle Sales, you can tap into those groups really, really well if you put a bit of time into it. Okay. Next one is why. What is the point? Okay. Ask yourself, why is it you're going to be posting on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn? Why should you deal with the comments and the messages that come through? Is it to sell that one car that you've posted? Well, if it is to sell that one car, I'll save you a bit of time. Don't bother posting on Facebook. Go and stick it on the Auto Trader and someone will find it eventually. Okay? We find the people who buy from us through social media, okay, they buy the car there and then, but they only buy it because they've spotted that thumb-stopping image, okay? And then we've taken them out of the market before they've even been in the market. Okay, they weren't necessarily intending on buying a car, but they've seen something they really like, they've inquired about it. As long as we treat them right and do what we say we're going to do, they buy the car and the rest is history. The other kind of people that buy from us through social media are the ones that follow us, but they need a bit of advice potentially. And they see that we've got such a good following, we've got a good reputation, and then they come to us asking obviously for a bit of help. Maybe they've got a bit of negative equity and they don't know how to go about it or whatever it is, but they come to us because they can see that we're open and honest. And then from there, we give the right advice. And then from there, fingers crossed, we'll sell them a car or a service or whatever it needs to be. And then of course, because we've helped them, we've created a solution to their problem, they're more likely to go and tell all their friends and family that we've helped them. So it's a double dunter from our side of things. Social media, like Jim says, is not advertising, it's marketing. It's building your story, it's building your brand and creating a following of people who will do the advertising for you. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's a slow burn that will take time, but it pays dividends in the long run. Here's one example of one that we've just done just in the last couple of weeks here. Now, the image on the left you'll see is a BMW. It went up at 14.58 on the 1st of May. Now, this was a car that we bought from a guy that actually follows us on social media. He follows us, he knows the kind of cars that we sell, stays locally to us here in Kintore, phones us up, guys, you'd be interested in buying a car. BMW 335 with 14,000 miles on the clock on an 18 plate? Absolutely, yes, I'll take that. So I went round to his house, bought it, and the guy dropped it off on the Saturday morning. Now, later that day, there was a couple of inquiries came through for the vehicle. There was quite a few likes. I mean, 33 comments, 1 share, 79 others, and there was no boost. I think we did actually go to boost it, but then it only ran for a matter of hours because we actually sold it on the Tuesday. Gentleman spotted it on Facebook, came in, bought it, and then of course we've got the video, the photo, the following week of the same car with the guy, very happy chap, in collecting the car. Again, if you go back to the photo, the photography tip with regards to the ratio, you'll see it works. You've got a third kind of mark focal point there, and it's framed nicely.
So this goes to prove that it's not just about selling cars, but it obviously helps buying cars as well. Because as soon as you're out there, you know yourselves, guys. I mean, if you're looking for, if a customer is looking for, where to sell their private car, what do? Well, they actually do a bit of research first. You do realise that. They'll actually go into websites and then they'll go, oh, this guy's got a smart car. Let's go and check to see if he wants another smart car. And that's what it is. Cars attract cars. So this is obviously why we've got a couple of BMWs in just lately. This is why we've got this opportunity. Phil was really quick off the mark, and he didn't allow Paul Jackson to get in front of him, which is one of the very rare occasions. And managed to buy it locally, get it down to ourselves, and sold it within a couple of days. So that's a full circle within one post, which cost us absolutely zero money. Just a little bit of effort, a little bit of time, and the customer's away, a very, very happy customer with a lovely car. Sorry, Paul.
Jim, do you want to tell us a bit about this one?
Yeah, so here's what, this one's in LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn, I always feel that LinkedIn is one of the most underutilized, medias there is there. Now, this isn't a post by me, okay, but this is a post about me, yeah? So what we did was, Naz Hussain, you won't know Naz Hussain, but Naz is a lovely, lovely guy. We've known him for a number of years. We're not great big pals or anything like that at all. But Naz owns a company called Breakneck Comedy in Aberdeen. And as you know, with the whole pandemic, all these hospitality places have been on their backside. Have been closed for months. Naz has been majorly affected it. And just to give you an idea, I mean, Naz is now on the call, and I'm sure he's quite happy for me to share this, that, he's gone from March last year, and I know there's some horror stories out there, but, he's lost his house, he's lost his car, he's back staying with his mum. This is a guy who's in his late 30s. He split from his missus, complete disaster of a year. And it's all caused by the fact that he's had to, basically close down his business. That's not our fault. It's not, it's the COVID side of things is obviously is hindered that. He's kept a very, very positive mind, and I've watched him over LinkedIn over the last little while, and you want to help him if you can. So he messaged me because he knows me, and he messaged me privately, messaged me, a couple of weeks ago, saying, have you any cheaper cars, Jim? He said, I'm looking for a £500 car. We don't sell £500 cars. They all go to auction and whatever. However, we bought 2 or 3 of these little smart cars for drop-off cars for MOTs. And I thought to myself, well, here's a potential opportunity for us, knowing how many people Naz knows, not only on LinkedIn, but also as business owners within his club, because a lot of businesses actually go and sponsor his club. I thought to myself, what if I just give him a car? I'll give him, it's a £1,000 smart car. We'll dress it up. I even managed to get, sponsors, so it cost us nothing to do the wrap on the car as well. It's got his company on it is the main thing. I've spoken through it. All he's got to do is insure it and fuel it, and that's his. He has it for 12 months. He gives him it back. I don't think I'm going to lose £1,000 in it. But hey, but here's the great thing about it. When he picked it up, he wants to push the social media. And as you can see with this post here, he posted that off his own back. And he said, you know, he's put us up in 862 reactions. I'm still getting, you know, and this is only just over a week ago, I'm still getting responses through LinkedIn just now. So it's actually beyond this figures already. There's 69 comments. Most of those comments on LinkedIn are about well done to Naz and well done to Jim for doing that. You know, 40,000 views, all local, or majority are local people, and people that I'm not actually connected to, but I've had numerous direct messages of it as well. So it's a bit of a good news story because it's kind of turned around, and you know, Naz is, you know, very, very thankful of it, but it's gotten out there. And the reason I'm saying that is not to pat me in the back or my company in the back for doing this, but to show you that there are different ways. You know, that's almost the empathy vote, and that goes very, very far as well. Yeah.
With all of this, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, it's all about content and what you can use. Again, whether it's a photo, whether it's a story, whether it's just you want to get the content out as much as possible. And until you start really thinking about, well, what content can you put out? There's content every minute of the day that you can be taking a photo of or doing, and it's just going out and making your own content that you can put out.
Definitely.
Another one?
Yeah, so I mean, here's another couple from LinkedIn that I've posted up. The one on the left is Alan Finley. So he contacted us actually through a social media post on Facebook. It just shows you obviously the cross section of it, where we actually put up pictures of a truck getting a ceramic coated in our new vault and centre. And Alan contacted us, says, I want my Range Rover SVR done. Listen, absolutely. We asked him if it was okay to take pictures when we were getting it done, and if he was happy to use those pictures after he picked it up. He says, absolutely, which we obviously did on a separate post. However, there's Alan himself actually putting a post up, and as you can see up at the very top, he's only a second connection, he's not even a first connection. You know, we've already won business off of that post. The one in the middle, the CCTV one, you know, look at the reach that is. That's 44,000 views in that, and 149 comments.
It's text only. But
that's text only, you know. And you actually, if you read that, and we can actually send you these, you know, just to show you what that was it's an attention grabbing top bit because it says caught on CCTV. So you go, you know, what's that all about? Yeah. And then it says fraud in the second bit. And you think, whoa. And it's very important how you actually, you know, structure these posts. That one's structured 100%. That's why it's done so well. Yeah. And it's also ended with a question. What would you do? Yeah. Now, you think to yourself, that's not selling cars, Jim. But it's not directly selling cars. You're absolutely right. It's not directly selling cars. It will indirectly get me more business because it's now showing 44,000 views that's had, and people genuinely felt sorry for me because this is obviously happening to us. The one at the bottom right, the beautiful picture, you know, that was obviously taken by people who hired or took a rental of one of the first rentals of our transporter camper van. And that post there, 84 likes, 6,000 views. You think, well, you know, a big mix between 6,000 views and 44,000 views. That picture there has encouraged 24 people direct messaged me about camper van hire, 2 of which I've converted into sales. The cost, 0. So that is the power of social media. So
now for the numbers.
Now for the numbers. This will give you a better idea of the numbers. See if you think we're wasting our time or not. So these are the results. So these are the results for our last 12 months, because what we did was, you know, we didn't measure them all the time. You know, we should, but we don't measure them all the time because we know that it's obviously working. Now, obviously the last 12 months has been a bit different because obviously a certain pandemic's gotten in the way ever so slightly of anybody's business. And it's had an impact obviously on the bigger number side of things. Now we sell normally about 400 cars a year. We're not a massive place, you know, we're not a small place, but you know, we normally about 400. Last 12 months we've sold 355. So that's from the 1st of May till the end of April. Yeah. So slightly down, obviously, because of the COVID. However, of 355 cars, 163 of these came through social media. That's 46%. 46% of the sales come through social media. And here's where it becomes interesting, because the total spend that we've actually spent money on for social media was £3,685. Now, as you all go and glance at your Auto Trader bills for last month, yeah, that was 12 months of cost. Cost per sale, not cost per lead, cost per sale, £22.60. Cost per sale, not lead. The gross per unit for the deals that we did through those, okay, after the cost of sale was through, so that's, you know, any work done in the car, but including the finance commission, was £1,955 gross per unit. Okay, and that equaled just short of £320,000 of profit for those 163 cars. Now, comparing those with the other 54% of sales that we did, the gross per unit, the GPU, was £407 less per unit on the other 54%, which means that we make more money off the ones that we gain from social media. It's a type of customer, yeah? So, to come to the final part of our presentation, and going back to the original question, the one that caught your eye, the thumb-stopping image with a little red car underneath it said, social media, does it really sell cars? Yes, it does. Now, what we're going to do is we've already received some questions through email, I think it was. Yeah. Just through email. You're asked on your opportunity to do so. So what we're going to do is we're going to answer these questions first in the order we received them. Yeah, because I think that's wise, obviously, to do. And
this is your moment. If you do have a question about what we've spoken about, go and pop it in the chat box, so that we can see it, and then we'll come to them as well.
And what we'll maybe try and do as well at some stage is we'll maybe try and open up some of the microphones as well at some point, sure, maybe just, you know, as we go through a little bit. It's really interesting to see as well what time some of you guys are actually up at in the morning. I thought I was an early riser. This one was in, you know, somebody was thinking it'd be at 4:32 in the morning. How scary is that? Right, so this one's from Roger Powell of LMC Farnham. Now, he's obviously quite a big, it sounds like a very, very big garage. And his question was, we sell circa 120 cars a month. Okay, and that's used cars only. So I presume he's got new cars as well, yeah? Would we need to employ a person to keep up to date with social media? Now, there's no better person than the person asking the question who knows his own business better than anybody else, isn't it? You know, I can't say definitely go and do that. My thoughts is if you're selling 120 used vehicles a month and you want to increase that, you know, even by 10%, employing somebody to do social media would be an absolute definite, you know, and I think, you know, it's only a small increase you actually need. Again, going back to the fundamentals, if you can throw the extra business, isn't it? You know, it's all down to the extra business side of things.
But again, you've got the ability there. Maybe it's a change of 120 cars a month. You'll have a few salespeople, I'm guessing. So can really and truly, it's maybe a change with regards to how can you pay your salespeople and what their job actually is. Maybe they've got the ability. And if you've got 5 salespeople, guess what? If you say to them, you've got one post a day on social media, and you own that one post, you answer the inquiries in that one post, well, maybe you don't need to employ someone else. Or maybe it's just another salesman you need to employ to help, but you train the whole sales team to go forward with social media, for example. Maybe.
Here's my multilingual side coming in now. So here's a Scot trying to have a French accent to do the next one, okay? So this one's from Jean-Pierre. So it's actually from Jean-Pierre Chateau, it says. So. Sorry, Jean-Pierre, if you're there. So how did you start? Was it on Marketplace or just posting cars? Now we were obviously, well before obviously Marketplace was even thought about with Facebook. So that would going back about 9-10 years ago when we started, obviously. So do you post general information or just about the garage? And how much time do you spend monitoring the response? So the first part of that is, do you just post in general information? So what we try and do is we do try and mix it up, because I think content mix is very, very important. So you'll likely see, if you have had time, or even if you do have time afterwards, is to go through our timeline on Facebook. And that's not the only thing where we post, because there's obviously different posts, and Phil can explain Facebook a bit better than I can. If you look at our timeline, it's mixed up, stuff that we actually do. But it's we never just go Chimney vehicle sales, we've got service, we've got MOTs, we've got the air conditioning, we've got, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. So we've got the A-team. You hear the A-team? No, they can't hear it. Doesn't matter. Moment. So it doesn't work. You've got to take it sectional, and you've got to say, well, listen, what I'm going to do is we're going to say about detailing a vehicle, ceramic coating, and that's what you go with. You go with one single thing. You go, this is this car, that's that single thing, instead of mixing it up.
The advantage there is, again, if you do MOT servicing, four-wheel alignment, valeting, car sales, guess what? It's 5 different pieces of content you can put out there. Yeah.
Just chop up into little sections and put it out in little sections. It's definitely, it's a way you should be advertising anyway, and it's a way you should be actually marketing your business on social media. But also, don't be scared to put personal stuff in there as well. We'll put up, family shout outs for birthdays. They get a fantastic response. If there's a wedding anniversary, if there's something like that, it means we're human beings, we're real people. It's not about, I don't see myself as being a car dealer. I see myself as being a person within the community who supports the community and does business. And if you're seen as being that type of person, guess what? You'll also get more business out of it as well. How much time do we spend monitoring the responses, Phil?
Well, it's continuous.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if someone inquires about a car, what would you do? Well, you want to follow up with the inquiry as quick as possible, strike while the iron's hot. So it is continuous, and that's why one of the things that we've done, we've shortened our hours physically working in the office so that we can do the replying at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. Now, it doesn't mean you've got to be glued to your phone 24/7, but I mean, if you can reply back to someone, even just to say, thanks for the inquiry, but what I'll do is, and not an automated response, an actual response from us saying, thanks for the inquiry, what I'll do is, I'll come back to you first thing tomorrow morning if that works. Okay, at least they know that they've actually come through to someone that can answer the questions.
So next question is from Simon at AP Hines & Co. So do you have any advice for what's the best way to successfully grow or build your social media following, and one that contains the right demographic and audience to suit your customer base and target market? So that is quite, that one's likely, the technical part of that is likely one that can maybe be answered by motor socials, but the reality is it's actually even more basic than that, I think. And you've heard the old adage of birds of a feather flock together. It's exactly the same. We all tend to be, as human beings, we will be along, your friends are with like-minded people, very similar interests, and that's how it actually grows. And if COVID has actually taught us anything, what it should actually teach is how things can multiply quickly. Yeah, COVID can multiply very, very quickly over a period of time. If you double one and double the number for 31 days, you get to 3 million. Did you realize that? It's compound. It's crazy. So all you've got to do is you've got to get your people that you've actually already got and encourage them to take their friends, their family as well, and and build up your following, and that's the best you can get. That is the best you can get because it's very similar people then.
Well, one of the simplest ways to do that is if you've got a bit of a following already on social media, is simply go on, and it's dead straightforward. You hit the boost button, boost post, and then it'll give you, I think, 3 or 4 options. Can boost to your targeted audience, or boost to people in your local area, boost to people who like your page and their friends. Guess what? If your following has been built genuinely and you've not paid for the likes, then if you boost the people who like your page already, guess what? If you boost to them and their friends, they're more likely to get that like-minded kind of people liking, following, and it's a genuine and authentic following rather than a paid-for following, which doesn't work.
Now, we've got a number of more questions. We'll get to 2 more questions, and then what we'll do is we'll then open it up, because I'm even fed up listening to my voice. So, and we're getting no reaction. So it's very difficult when you're getting absolutely no reaction at all. And we went to listen to somebody else. So, but a couple more questions. Is the next one's from Gary Monahan. Now he's a partner, Digital Remarketing Solutions (DRS). And his question is, with used cars achieving extremely strong values at auction, I was wondering whether social media could be equally good at sourcing cars from consumers as well as selling them, and whether you have any successful experiences to share about that. And well, we've used one today, Gary, so hopefully that has answered your question. And we've got numerous stories with regards to how it's easier to get to the general public and buy vehicles from them through social media. A very valid question, and from Gary's point of view as well, from DRS point of view, for those who don't know what DRS do, you should actually look and get in contact with Gary as well, because you basically send a link to your customer. So for instance, let's say Johnny decides that we've popped in a post and we're looking for Volkswagen Golf R's, a DSG with a bit of spec, and Johnny contacts us and says, I've got a beautiful blue one with lovely alloy wheels, and using Gary or DRS's system, what you can do is you can send a link to Johnny, and that link actually tells him the way around to take pictures on his phone. So it basically says, take a picture at this angle, that angle, and then look at my social media, look at my service history, put all the details in, bing. And you've basically got all the information you need to save going back and forth, umpteen times with Johnny. You've got all the information. So it's, one, hopefully it's answered your question, Gary, and 2, hopefully it's explained how your system actually works very, very well with that type of social web.
Just very, very quickly, I mean, the Facebook Marketplace, it's obviously not a proper it's not a classified advertising platform, but people, private punters who are selling their cars, use it because it's easy. They're already there, they just hit sell, and then they upload some photos and some information, and that's it. So it's quite amazing how many vehicles we will buy from private individuals through the likes of Facebook Marketplace, because it's free for them and it's easy. And it's often the first go-to if they're trying to sell a car. So we always, again, locally, keep an eye on Facebook Marketplace to buy as well as sell. Yep.
So the last question before we obviously open up to other ones, and I know there's other ones there as well. You must have sent across quite a number from other other people as well, which we'll default to if there's no other questions. But last one is from Damien Lee of Leeds Auto. My burning question, which I guess you'll be covering anyway, is how much time would a numpty like me, he says, have to spend to make it work? My precious commodity as a one-man band is trying to do everything the right way is time. Yeah, and time is a commodity that we all cherish. There's absolutely no doubts about that at all. It's about managing your time and managing obviously the system and how that actually works within a time. Yeah, but social media does take time. There's absolutely no shadows of doubt. You can't say it doesn't, because it is time consuming. but if you make it part of your day, you know, the amount of times I actually speak to people, and I'm sure people stalk me in LinkedIn, but you know, people say, oh, you're never off LinkedIn. Honestly, you know, I'm hardly ever on LinkedIn, you know, but what actually LinkedIn does, it takes like 2 minutes to post something, you know, content wise, it'll actually rich content to get it out, you know, even with a picture. Yet that will work away whilst I'm working, you know, that'll work away, you know, and all I've got to do every now and again is go back, have a look at the reactions and the responses, if there's any questions, and answer those. So it's part of your day. You make it part of your day. It's the same idea as Facebook. It's basically, it's almost like lighting a fire, because I do love an analogy, yeah? So you build the fire, yeah, so that's your content. You light it, okay, so that's a post. And then what you need to do is, you need to start burning, yeah? So if it's a really good content, it will actually burn really well on its own, yeah? However, if it's not so good content, you might have to go back and, you know, blow a little bit, or, you know, put some lighter fuel on, or whatever it is, or put more sticks on to build it. And then building the sticks back on it to make it burn a bit bigger, a bit brighter, and a bit warmer, is you asking questions and answering questions within it. So I do love an analogy at Jim Reed Vehicle Sales. Stuart, can I hand that back over to you?
Jim, thank you very much for running through that. The slides and the presentation was fantastic, and I'm sure everyone's going to take a lot away from the content that you've put in today. Thank you for the time and effort. So let's move on to a couple of the questions that are coming through on the chat. What I thought it might be nice to do is for the person that's asked the question to perhaps read it out, and then it gives that person the chance just to maybe continue the chat with you, Jim, and we know what everyone's, the point they're trying to get across. So if we just go back to, I think the first one was Certa used car sales. So if I just unmute Certa used car sales, hopefully they're still there. Maybe they're not. Okay. Maybe they're just listening, going off. It says, okay, I'll read it out. Hi, do you source your social media or manage it all in-house? Also, do you put a budget on the advertising cost of social media?
We don't outsource it. We do all ourselves. It's all in-house. What we do is we encourage, obviously, everybody to get involved. So, you know, for instance, there's 4 of us in the sales side of things. There's myself and Phil. And we've got Fabio, who's 19, you know, our 19-year-old apprentice, which is fantastic, especially with like Instagram. And with Greg, one of the sales guys as well, who does our higher side as well. So we're all engaged in doing posts, we're all engaged in doing a video, and we're all engaged in replying as well. So basically, we can all reply as Jim Reed Vehicle Sales and get a conversation back and forth. And that's why we're so, you know, so successful, I suppose. We're so successful with the dents guy has started to take a dent out of a car right outside my window. I think we'll maybe just move him a bit. That's why we're successful with, obviously, with the replies as quickly. So we just do it on our own is what we do. To answer the question.
Thanks, Jim. Next question. This is from Scott Sibley, who I think is just off the call at the moment, but we'll ask you a question anyway. It's quite a good one, actually. It says, why do you have your review switched off on your page? I was told this was negative. He then goes on to say, do you not worry about social media fatigue? If you post too many posts, the followers drop off.
So no, I've never ever switch off the reviews. The only way you switch your reviews off is if there's something to hide.
He obviously thinks we have switched off the reviews. Is that the question, Stuart?
Yeah, so basically the question says, why do you have your review switched off on your page? I don't know if Scott's spotted something there. It was suggesting that you haven't got your reviews on. I don't know if that's correct or not.
No, well, Facebook has changed. It's no longer reviews, it's recommendations.
Right.
So it's a wee bit different. You don't leave reviews, so you don't have the 5-star reviews or 2-star or 1-star reviews anymore. it's a recommendation. So it's slightly different setup to what it used to be, but our reviews there's still a tab there for people to look and leave if they so wish.
Yeah. Okay, and then the second part of the question, Phil, was, do you not worry about social media fatigue? If you post too many posts, the followers drop off, ?
No, mainly because when I'm saying 25 posts a day, I'm talking across all the platforms that we're on. And as long as they're not the same posts, yes, I would totally agree. If you were doing 25 posts a day of the 25 cars you've got in stock, and they're all the same kind of photos with all the same kind of information, you're absolutely right, because people don't want to be sold to all the time. And of course, it's getting into the way of wording the posts so that you're not selling. It's an informative post, which people then, if they're interested, they will then ask for more information, and we can sell it to them. But that's why it's important to have a mixture of all these different kinds of posts across all the platforms. So again, like a social media, Facebook, for example, getting 2, 3, 4 posts a day, well, you do that. You've got your stories on there as well if you want to do anything with stories. But then across, obviously, Instagram, well, that's another 3 or 4 or 5 posts on Instagram. And then, of course, you've got your LinkedIn, and if you're doing TikTok and Snapchat and things like that as well. But try and concentrate on
I think it's a really relevant question, Stuart. But, what you've got to think on is, look at the bigger picture and go, why are 11,000 whatever it is that we've got followers on Facebook? Why are they following us? Why are they actually following? Why are they following a car dealership? That's the reality, isn't it? Is it just to see photographs? No, it is to listen to obviously the content, get a bit of background about what we are in business, and get a bit of your personality behind it. That's what we do. And when you mix it up like that, you don't have the fatigue. As Phil actually quite rightly says, if it's just a bombardment of adverts all the time, it's the same idea as going back to an analogy, because we do like an analogy. If you go to an event of some description, okay, the person that you avoid is the person who's trying to sell you something all the time. The guy's in the corner that's speaking about himself all the time. It's all about him. Yeah. If that's all you're doing, and you're not asking questions about somebody else and getting into conversational kind of things, you'll completely avoid them, won't you? It's exactly the same on social media as well. So that causes fatigue if all you're doing is going, we're the best, we're the greatest, and this is why you should follow us. That's not what we do. We mix it up.
Thanks, Jim. Next question. This is from Clarkson of Glasgow. Can you explain the benefits of hashtags?
Barry, in a very short answer, hashtag no.
I've been playing around with this, so if you roll the clock back a year or so ago, they didn't like you when you liked Instagram and Facebook together and then did one post, but it certainly seems to be working a lot more effectively now. And of course, with Instagram, you're much more beneficial to add on as many hashtags. Well, they say I think it's about 15 to 20 hashtags, but I try and put as many as I can. And that pulling through to Facebook, I have noticed the interaction levels are better. And I don't know exactly why, and if that is if Facebook is starting to really, again, because they're also trying to push out good content to people who are specifically interested in something, and using hashtags is a good way to get a following of who likes what. Because if you're hashtagging cars of Instagram and you like cars of Instagram, guess what? Facebook will want to push that kind of content in front of your face on Facebook, I think.
Sure, can we open, because I can actually see Barry on the screen here, so can we open Barry's microphone to see why he's asked that question then?
Yeah, I have requested that he...
Oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
No, okay. I was just closing the office door.
Jim, sorry?
I just don't know the worth of it, the relevance of the hashtag words, and if there's a bit of a science going on there that I don't understand. And it's probably one area of social media that I often look and go, is that just waffle? Is there logic behind it? Is it worth exploring it more to understand the reasons and the results behind it? Should I be defining it more, or is it just a bit of hot air? I just don't get it.
So it is more, the hashtag is more designed obviously for Instagram as opposed to Facebook. So if you think, I don't know if you use Instagram, but if you're on Instagram, you're just flicking through the Explore, and you're just sliding through Instagram, just seeing what people are posting. If you hashtag something, or if you have liked something that's got a hashtag Cars of Instagram or whatever it is, that content will then be pushed in front of you. So if someone else has done it, and again, it's like-minded kind of people with the same kind of likes. So, for example, if you put up hashtag Audi and you put that in front of people, people who like hashtag Audi and have liked posts in the past about hashtag Audi, it will appear in front of them, or it's more likely to appear in front of them.
Okay, so I deduced that you're saying that there are far more relevance on Instagram, but not so much on Facebook or LinkedIn or that sort of stuff.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, I think LinkedIn, it's all about searchability, Barry. You know, that's what hashtags are obviously for, isn't it? You know, so LinkedIn's a great way to look at it as well, is because as soon as you put in a hashtag, you can then see how many, you can search the hashtags and go, how many hashtags, it's hashtag social media, hashtag, Jim Reed, go and see how many posts have got that hashtag in. So it makes it easier for, if somebody was going to look for me and they go, listen, Jim Reed, there's hundreds of Jim Reeds, I can't actually find them. And then they go, I remember hashtag is Jim Reed vehicle sales or your Jim Reed cars. Hashtag, you hashtag that and you'll find the post a lot easier. It's just about searchability, it's all it is. The relevance to get in front of people, there is a bit of relevance, you're absolutely right. The technicality side of things, but go back to the disclaimer, Barry, we're not social media gurus, unfortunately, so maybe the motor social guys could maybe help us out a bit with that. So.
Sure. No, listen, that's great, Jim. And Phil, I appreciate your time today and spewing out what you know.
Thanks, Barry. That's great. Okay, next question. This is from Luke at Connected Car Finance, which is an IMDA supplier. They're a broker. I personally use them. They're very good. The question is, I would imagine if you are not now using AutoTrader, you are just using the same time you would have used monitoring and adjusting on AutoTrader to actually engage and respond with potential customers. So isn't actually taking up any more time, question mark.
Yeah, so let me answer that one. What we've never said, we've never actually said this because everybody presumes this is the case. We've never said that AutoTrader, or using Facebook or social media is an alternative to AutoTrader. They're completely different things. They're completely, utterly different things. Do they have the same results, end results? Selling cars is what we're actually trying to achieve. Yes, they do. AutoTrader, if you want a quick sale, okay, you post a car on AutoTrader with all the bits and pieces. It gets in front of all the people who are actually looking for that car. They will search it and find it, and then they will buy it. Brilliant. However, the cost involved to do that is, we all know what it is. Yeah. Social media is different. Social media is a building thing. It's building a community. It's building a following. It's building, it's a whole thing. It's not, this is why it's marketing, not advertising. So we make it part and parcel of our day. It's part of our life. So we just see it as being something separate, and it's not just designed just to sell cars. It's selling the whole business, because we've not even touched sides of how many van hires we got off it, how many camper hires we got off it, how many services we got off it, and how many MOTs we got off it. And that, that's the thing. We're much bigger than just car sales, and it's all we're doing is measuring the car sales side of things. Do we use I think it's an infamous story now that we're a big fallout with AutoTrader, and that's why we don't use them. And I put it out there, and I don't think they would have me back, even if I said I was wanting to come back. I don't think they would actually have me back. But the reality is, it's not about it's not about AutoTrader. They're two different things. Do we still need to top up our sales with classifieds? Yes, we do. So we still use motors, we still use piston heads, we still use, you know, car gurus, which is the whole package with piston heads. Don't know if it's a great thing, but we do. But we've got to have new things topping up, obviously, the business. But that only equates to, going back to the pie chart, 9% of our business. And it's the most costly part of that pie chart. So, you know, time versus, you know, I'd rather spend time on social media gaining the right type of people. Also, and here's the biggie, okay, done properly, especially on Facebook, we pop up a car as due in, okay, that person on social media might be tagged in it because he's just speaking to his mate down in the pub. Oh, I was thinking, you know, one of these beautiful glacier white or ibis white, you know, Audi A4s. And guess what? You know, Jim Reed posts one of these up on the Monday morning. Who's that guy going to tag? He's going to tag his mate for the pub and say, look, you can't believe this. That's that car. You know, oh, you know, I was thinking about that in 2 or 3 months. Oh, I'll just go and find out about it. We can actually buy that. We can actually get that customer out of the market before he's even looked at Auto Trader. That's the magic of it. You know, we're actually getting him out of the classified cycle. He's not even been looking at on Auto Trader, and that is the magic. And the cost is very, very, very small. Done right.
Great answer, Jim. Next question. How about Twitter for business?
Sorry, can you see the passion? Yeah.
Yes.
Can you feel it?
The question was, how about Twitter for business?
Nah.
Yeah, I mean, Twitter's a kind of unusual one. I mean, you know, I've been, you know, 11 years in Twitter, and that's actually how myself and you. So let's tell you a bit of story with Twitter. Very, very quick one is Umesh and I actually met in Twitter years ago, 11 years ago, and we're likely, you know, best pals. Yeah, we're likely speak to each other every single week, and in reality, you know, we along with other members have been the catalyst of the IMDA. That's why we've got this call today, is because of Twitter. So let's not diss Twitter. Twitter, however, has changed over the period of time. It's a very short, sharp, you know, place for questions and things like that. It tends to be peer-to-peer, friend to friend. It's very difficult to get business out of that from a business perspective. You know, it's posting as a business to get people to buy vehicles. But it's another method of being out there. I use it very little now. I used to use it a lot. I use it very little now. I don't think it brings in the same amount of business anywhere close to the likes of Facebook or LinkedIn or, you know, Instagram. That's my thoughts.
Thanks, Jim. Next question, and this is a really good question for you guys. This is from Paul Jackson. I think most people know who Paul Jackson is. For those that don't, very active on social media, very well known in the trade. So the question here is from Paul. It says, I'm pretty active on social, stories, Insta, LinkedIn, etc. You could say I'm addicted to social. We have over 25,000 followers across 3 platforms, but I don't have anywhere near the results of you guys. We do all the kind of posts you're talking about. I'm trying to work out what I'm missing to get that business like yourselves. Great question.
It's a really great question. And whilst we're posting on social media, he's buying my cars.
So one of the things, and like came back to before, I mean, when we started doing social media 10, 11 years ago, it's can about 11,000 followers. Can you, Paul, you've like got more followers than what we've got, but the thing is, it's the kind of followers that we've got. It's local people that are.
It's part of the community.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, it's bigger. It's, you know, if you're selling, you know, it's about dilution, isn't it? Yeah. So is there a stronger feel of community if all our business is done locally because we feed the local business? Your business, Paul, is national. So 25,000 followers nationally is a very small percentage. 11,500 followers in this area is a massive percentage. So my beer is stronger than your beer, mate.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as that. And the thing is, we can direct it a lot quicker. So, we just concentrate, we're micro-focused in concentrating on our after sales business. So we just don't just sell one car and listen, look for another customer, because if we were to do that and always look for new customers all the time, we would be forced to go back onto Auto Trader. We don't. We focus on, relationships with people, and that relationships as well. What we've not actually, and one of the questions has not actually appeared as yet is, about the other 54%. The other 54% is made up of repeat customers. However, there are also repeat customers within that 46%. And the reason we've counted them within the 46% and not within the 54% is because those customers, although they're repeat customers, were the action they took was via social media. They saw a post that they like, and they've come straight on to us saying, I see that car, Jim, or Phil, I want to buy that car. And that was the only place we actually posted it was on Facebook. Yeah. So there is a bit of mixture in there, but it's about the community side of things. It's not all about numbers. It is about obviously getting the right audience. It's going back to the strategy. It's the right audience, the right contact mix, structure of posts as well, Paul. And that answers your question. But
one of the things that, and okay, get pointed out time and time again, it's different up here than what you guys have down there, because there's a lot more dealers around you guys than there is up here. Well, I think that's actually true, because I actually had a look this morning to see how many dealers we've got within a 5-mile radius. It's actually quite staggering. But I think if you can try and stick to your local area as best as you can, and spend the money on the local area and look at ways to support your local area, well, hopefully they'll give it back and support you. And
yeah, so one of the questions, that goes on very, very well to one of the questions that you mentioned actually forwarded through that he'd obviously been passed on. We're based in London, Birmingham and Manchester, more dealers. So how can we sell with so much competition compared with you guys? Let me tell you, I can actually turn around and you can actually see the next garage, and you can almost see the next garage behind us. We have got competition on our door. Okay, within a half-mile stretch, there are 4 garages. Yeah, so we do have competition. We're not the only person in Scotland to sell cars. Okay, so relevance as well. Yes, there's a lot more garages in Birmingham and London and whatever. However, on the flip side, you've got a lot more chimney pots. You've got a lot more people in those areas to service, so you've got a better chance as well. Is the percentage the same with us? Possibly, yeah. But you've got to set yourself, aside. We focus very much on, we're a family business, family owned, run, community based. We'll support our families. We'll support obviously our larger family, which is obviously our staff, and that's reflected. People like dealing with people like that. That's what they like. If you become just a franchise or a big enormous brand, that's what you see now, isn't it? Somebody who maybe doesn't care the same as. We always put back into the community. Look at Naz's post. That's what we're about.
Can always look at what's your unique selling point. I know it's a cliche in business and whatever, but what's your unique selling point? Why buy from you rather than the guy that's over the fence? What is the difference? And then you use that and you continuously put that story out in front of people. Just yeah.
Thanks, guys. Next question from Liam Bell. How do you drive followers? Have you used incentive initiatives to add to the portfolio of your people/groups following your pages? So do you use incentives to get people to follow your group or pages?
We do a little story about that, because we did to get to 10,000 followers on Facebook. Phil, there was actually another car dealership. I don't know if he's actually here today or not, but it was one up in Inverness, and there was a bit of challenge going on. I don't know how it actually appeared, but never mind. It was a race to get to 10,000 followers. That's what it was.
And we were only at I think we're at 9,000 followers. He was at 7.5 or something like that.
And I think it was something, it's something very jovial about, who can get to 10,000 first. There's a bottle of whiskey in it for Phil, type of thing. And that's what, that's what it was put across as. And we got there first, and it continued to grow after that. And in fact, Angus, believe it or not, is now at 20,000, so it's likely benefited him better than it actually benefited us. But it was a bit of fun, a bit of enjoyment. We got there first, but always win.
I mean, and that was just by putting a post out to his followers saying, look, we're trying to beat these guys down here to try and get to 20,000, to 10,000 followers. Can you help? And it just exploded from there for him. So it's good.
Posts, when you're looking at things for posts and ideas for posts and things like that, and I've got a couple of reference things as well, which I'd like to tell you before we actually kind of finish today as well. A couple of things, a couple of podcasts you should really listen to, a book that you should really read, I think as well. But, different types of posts, I think we'll all agree, and if we all agree, please nod if you've got your camera on with this, okay? Everybody has an opinion and everybody likes their own opinion. True? All you got to do is, look at how many people's got an opinion on COVID, how the government should obviously work, do for COVID and the actions they've taken. Everybody likes their opinion to be heard. Social media has actually got the biggest platform for an opinion, okay? So why not use that to your best ability, okay, to your benefit? And by asking people on social media, when we've done in the past with Facebook, when we can't make a decision about, and it's very seldom that we do this, but I mean, if we can't make a decision on, is it this logo or that logo, or will it be this car or that car will do as sales manager special, whatever it is, okay, go and ask your audience. You've got 11.5, we've got 11,500 people, all with opinions. And guess what? If you go and ask them a question, they're more than happy to give you their opinion. Yeah. So use it, and that's how you grow it. That's how you grow it. Because guess what? As soon as somebody answers that question, their friends and their family they're connected to Facebook also see the answer. Yeah. So they then see the post. And that's how it grows. It multiplies and multiplies and multiplies. And do you think that they might actually go in? Here's a company who value my opinion. Yeah. So do you think that they're actually going to go, yeah, listen, I would like to give my opinion as well on that post. Oh, listen, I'll actually follow this, follow this guys as well. They seem decent guys. That's how you grow.
The follower side of things can, if you're wanting to try and do obviously the paid side of things, like I've said, can go and boost a post to people who like your page and their friends. It's one of the easiest ways. And with regards to boosting, we really touched on it. How much do we boost per post? I think at the moment we'll put an advert budget of about 60 quid over a week, for example. But the great thing, and this is one of the best things with the boosting the post, is likes of the BMW 335, we boosted that. Of course, budget of 60 quid. So of course, Facebook's going, you're spending a bit of money with us. We'll push your advert in front of Sandy Thanes next door that's only spending £10 a kind of post. Okay, we'll push your advert out in front because you're willing to spend the money. But then, of course, we sold it the following day. So what did I do? Stopped it.
So you control.
Only spent 4 quid. And if you're doing that all the time, then you never can. I can't remember the last time we actually managed to spend the 60 quid because we're stopping the adverts because we're managing to sell them.
But social media has got to be part of the marketing mix. It's not an alternative to classified. It's to go along with classified. It's to add obviously to the. If you work it really hard, it will pay dividends. There's absolutely no doubt about it.
The next question was from MB Motors, but Phil very nicely actually just answered it in advance, because the question related to do you boost posts and how much do you spend? Well, if everyone was listening, Phil has just answered that with a great example, and also just for my benefit, I like the fact that you boosted it and then stopped it and it only cost you 4 quid. So well done for that. Okay, so next question is from Luke at Connected Car Finance. This is quite a good question as well. He says, am I right in saying that you can schedule posts on Facebook, or via third-party systems. So if you had a quiet spell, you can set up posts in advance to post throughout the day when you're busy.
You can. I would try and avoid it. Whether it's true or not, but the scheduled posts that we have done, and that was in the early days of Facebook, they didn't perform as well. And of course, there's, whether it's a myth or not, that scheduled posts don't perform as well because they're seen as old news. Because of course, you posted it at 10 o'clock at night for the following morning, and the thing is, it's maybe not relevant, and Facebook see it as being old news. So one of the ways that I would go around that is if you're writing up the post, type it up on your phone or whatever, save it to your notes, okay? And then when you're ready to post, it'll literally take 30 seconds because you just copy and paste it onto Facebook, add the images, done. That's likely the better way to do it rather than scheduled posts. Yeah. And third parties, I would say, is a no-no as well.
Yeah, and never underestimate relevance and time. Okay, so for instance, we'll give you not that I will actually watch this program at all, but let's say that I decided today to post up a really funny post that I think, oh, that's a really great idea, and it's to do with the line of duty. Listen, that was like 3 weeks ago. Missed opportunity completely. You should have posted it 3 weeks ago, not now. It's not relevant. It will get they'll get no further than, because they'll go, how disconnected is this guy, or this company? It's no relevance. We've moved on from that. That's the world of social media. That is the world. You've got to be on top of it all the time. You've got to, it's almost like documenting your day. It's like documenting your business. Something happens on that day, go and post it that day. That's what I do. And when it becomes something like that, if you think there's something that makes you, laugh, for instance, I've got a great post because something that happened this morning. Yeah, let me just get on. I've not actually got the phone. I'll just give you a little laugh, which happened this morning. So we've got a hire business as well, as we've said, van hire. And there's a guy actually booked a van this week. He's picking it up later on this afternoon, half a day hire. Really, really nice guy. Spoke to him on the phone. Retired gentleman from Kintor, so just local. So he's getting all his proofs and things like that today, driving license, so on and so forth. However, last night at like 10:30, just going to my bed, I'm thinking, oh, gee whiz, I didn't ask this guy's age, because we've actually got an age, upper age limit on his insurance. So it's 70 age group. That's it. I thought, oh, James, he's obviously organised himself to go and sort out this house move or whatever it is. So first thing this morning, first thing that I thought was actually convenient or acceptable for to send a text, I sent him a little message from the held hire phone, just saying, I did cut out the fact that you said you were retired. One of the things I didn't actually ask was what age you were, because we've actually got a restriction on our insurance. And although you don't sound like a 70-year-old, okay, you get butter him up a little bit. You don't sound like a 70-year-old on the phone. I just wanted to check to make sure, just to save letting you down. So he just put back, no, Jim, he said, you're absolutely fine. He said, I'm 64, I've got a few years left in me yet. I goes, he said, I just put back and said, I knew that, that's absolutely perfect. So he then puts back another reply, and it's kiss, kiss, and then a thumbs up. Straight back after that, he went, oh, he says, sorry about the kisses, please ignore them. They just appeared. Now, that for me is absolute gold. Yeah, that for me is absolute gold. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that he's okay for me to post that on social media. If he's not, it's fine. It's not a problem. We'll get a laugh somewhere else. I will take a photograph of that, make sure his name's not on it, which is not, or his phone number's not on it. We'll post it up because it's funny. It makes people laugh.
People can relate to it.
And people can relate to it as well, because how many people have you sent, kiss, kiss, or oh no, the little lover, or something like that, or even worse, a text which is actually auto-corrected itself because it's a word that you use. We'll all do it. It's relevant. It happens. We're all human beings. Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect sense, Jim. Next question from Gary Monahan. I think you can use a product called Canva to create content and schedule when it goes out. I use Canva for some of the social media posts that we use, and it is a really easy to use. I think it costs about £10 a month, and you literally just drag and drop, and you can create some fairly good images. And for anybody that's not very good at creating, merging pictures and text and things like that, it is a good platform to use. So over to Phil and Jim. Is that a product that you use, or do you use something similar?
We don't.
We don't. So is it an editing software as opposed to an editing app as opposed to like an actual scheduling app? It is.
I actually know about Canva. So Canva is obviously it's an American thing for utilising obviously your social media posts. It's nice. You can make memes off it and things like that as well. It's very, very easy to make pictures, and take your pictures and make them into something else, to make posters and things like that as well, which is really good at. We don't use it. We use different bits and pieces, and we can add. I've seen myself use Meme-tastic and things like that as well, which are free. But you can use anything. It's relevant. For instance, the meme. I think it's Meme-tastic. There's loads of them out there. There's loads of them free in your apps. And they'll give you limited availability on them. But one of the favourite ones is the breaking news that looks like the Sky News thing. I've used that a few times. It always gets a fantastic, because everybody knows that something going to be announced. Yeah, because they can see obviously the live bit at the top, the little scrolling bit at the bottom. Everybody knows what it is, so they go, the thumb stop at it. And there's an image behind it, and they can see it looks like, and they will actually read what the content is. I just thought this was relevant as well. If I can find it, and there's all these bits of paper, because there's loads of bits of paper. I'm going to give you some kind of reference points of. Yeah, here we go. So again, you've all got pens and paper handy, but here's some great references for you. Something that you should, something that we use. Okay, certainly I use. There's a book and 2 podcasts which I swear by. Okay, and depending on the size of your business, okay, but you should read these. You should read this book definitely, because it's easy to read, and it's a fantastic read. And we put this into practice. The book is called The One-Page Marketing Plan. Okay, it's a yellow book, and it's by Alan Dibb, and Alan's with 2 L's. Dibb is with 1 B. Okay, so the book is One-Page Marketing Plan by Alan Dibb. And it's really, really simple to build a strategy and build a marketing plan. And it's great as well, because you can utilize what he says in the marketing side of things and then adapt it to different parts of your business. Honestly, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. A couple of podcasts you should really listen to. If you listen to podcasts, listen to these podcasts, okay? One that's been on the go for years and years and years is one called Social Media Marketing with Mike Stelzner. Stelzner is Stelzner, and he's called the Social Media Examiner. Okay, is it American? Is it American or Canadian?
Yeah,
he's definitely got a very distinct accent. He's really good. He interviews a lot of people, and it's really good to get that. So, and he gives you the up-to-date changes in the algorithms with Facebook and things like that as well, and try and get you in front of stuff. And it's not just about Facebook, it's about LinkedIn, it's about Clubhouse, it's about TikTok, it's about all these, and he basically takes all the experts and puts them in one place, and he interviews them. And he interviews them in a style that he's the thick boy. I don't know anything about it, so they give him really deep dive stuff, and it's fantastic to listen to. And he's a really good presenter as well. And another one that I've found recently, which I think is absolutely terrific, because she is a big cheerleader about, organic on Facebook, which we all believe is now finished. It's not all finished, honestly. It's got to have a resurgence because of the privacy settings, okay? This is your chance. Listen, get onto this podcast. She's even got a Facebook following as well. But if you look her up, it's called Traffic Makers, The Traffic Makers, and it's by Rachel Miller. and it's Moolah Marketing. So Moolah is spelled M-O-O-L-A-H marketing. Now, again, it's another American, okay? And if you can put up with the accent, you know, if you can get your head around the accent side of things and the amount she speaks, it really is a fantastic podcast and Facebook group that she actually does as well. And, you know, they've got millions of followers, and she actually even gives away all the top tips. So if you're looking for, if you can take away something today, is go on to, you know, listen to the podcast, and she actually gives you hidden pages within our website that you can actually go and view to get top tips. And it's brilliant. You know, some of the stuff. And
it's ways of how to do content.
Because she says content is actually simpler than what we actually make it. You know, because you basically got content that she says you got content that you can actually basically build for the whole year. You know, she can actually build content for the whole year, because all it is use, rinse, and repeat. That's all it is. You know, you use it, rinse it, and repeat it, and you just dress up as slightly different. You know, one of my top tips is go and look and study, if you've got time, okay, other people doing it right. And here's an idea, okay? You steal it, okay? You steal the idea, you change it a little bit, okay? Mix it up a little bit, you add your detail to it, and then you use it. It's easy. You know, it's going back to another analogy, which we do like an analogy. Wheels. You know, how many different, you know, wheels are there in the world? They're all the same shape. They're all exactly the same shape. So all you've got to do is do what works. You know, the winner suddenly come out with a triangular wheel that works better than a circular one or an oval one. Although I'm sure there's a couple of cars in the yard that's got oval ones or even square ones. But, you know, it's, you know, don't try and fix something that doesn't need fixing. You know, go with something that's actually working. Go and study these guys that are actually doing it really, really well, and just use that. You know, use it for your own people.
Fantastic. Thanks, Jim. We'll take one last question, I think. It's from Paul Jackson again. And it says, would you be happy to share any of your audiences if they are drilled down to specifics?
That's one for Phil.
Yeah, I mean, no problem. I suppose the way that when I do go to a specific audience to try and push it out, I'm very, very big on the locality, rather than, you know, the likes and the dislikes and the, you know, is it someone that's recently moved or is it someone that's recently gotten engaged? You know, I mean, one of the big things, I suppose, in life, when there's one big change, it'll spark another big change, and then another, you know, so you get engaged, you'll maybe change a car, or you'll maybe move in together, or you'll get married and then you'll buy a house, and then once you buy a house, you'll get a car, or you'll get a house, and then you'll maybe end up babies on the way, so you'll need to change it. So one big change in your life will spark another big change, and changing a car is a big thing. So if you can target those kind of people, and can go on to the days where they said you wanted to be really pinpointed with what you're trying to, who you're trying to advertise to. I've never been too specific with who I'm. The only thing that I'm specific about is the areas that I'm trying to target. And then I'll maybe have a look through the demographics and see if there's anything, but I'd often go with big changes in life. So you get the option to, you know, target people that have recently moved, you know, in the last 3 months or last 6 months, target them. Because the thing is, if they've moved, I mean, we moved into a housing estate in Inverurie about 3 years ago, and within the first 6 months, I would say a dozen of the houses round about us all changed their car. And I'm going, why are you buying it from us? But it's because it's sparked you know, there's one big change, it changed another change. So if you're looking for something, go along that kind of lines. But I'm more than happy to share audiences, but would our audience specifically work for you? Maybe not, because that's the thing. that it's like that's the golden nugget. Is,
So that's what I was asking. Is that because obviously I'm in North Wales, and believe it or not, it is a community where Wales people do like to buy from Welsh companies. So there is that benefit that you guys kind of have in Scotland, is that Scottish people like to buy from Scottish companies. Welsh people seem to like to buy from Welsh companies. And the reason I asked you about the audiences is because I'd just like to look, even if it's just a screenshot, I'd just like to look at how far of a radius that you go. And that, because it's not about the money. It's not about how much you put into it, as you say. It's more about the specifics that you drill into. And what you said there about the recently moved, I was doing one with families' ages you used to be able to do, but they seem to have taken that off, and they keep changing it all the time. So the what you can and cannot choose changes like all the time. It changes.
And that'll continue to happen, folk, and they'll continue to change it. I mean, the changes now to what it was 10 years ago is massive from when we started. But that's why you've got to continuously do it. If you only use social media when you're quiet, which is what a lot of folk do, we're quiet, those guys do social media really well, we'll go and put a heap of cars on Facebook. Guess what? They're expecting people to come in. It doesn't work like that. It's got to be continuous. You've got to always be doing it and keeping your finger on the pulse with regards to these changes.
The best time to do it is when you're busy, because you then never become quiet. Because it's obviously just filling the gap continually, isn't it? It's
and when you're busy, you've likely got the most content you've ever had.
I get
collecting cars, and people collecting cars. We don't do enough of it, and we should, because that's a huge thing, because it shows that you're selling cars, happy faces. People like to engage with that because it's.
I mean, we put every single customer online that buys a car that we can. I mean, you can overdo it, can't you? But you just. You do, fair enough.
But in reality, that specific there, well, when somebody's picking up a car, that's what they've looked at. That's what they've looked forward to. Us as an industry, salespeople generally aren't that bothered about the handover, are they? That's geez, I've got to go and do a handover now. I've got to work for my business, Whereas that's the most exciting part for the customer. That is the ultimate. Owning it's not the ultimate. It's actually the picking it up and so looking forward to it. They're all excited, so they get big smiley faces. If you've done your job right, it's 100% clean. It's 100% done. The bitty's touched in. The wheels are all done. Whatever it is, and it's it's got fuel in it and whatever. So no, you've got a full tank of fuel and everything, Paul. But they're absolutely delighted. They're doing the handover. Of course, they get to stand in front of the car, in front of your sign, and help you promote yourself. And guess what? The people who see them will go, "Oh, I didn't realise you got a new car from Paul. We bought a car from Paul 2 years ago. It was a fantastic experience." And that's how it grows. However, what you can't do is, and I see a lot of people doing it, is, and I try and keep away from it altogether. But if you get a 5-star review, okay, don't try and promote your 5-star reviews. Because something, it's almost like you're blowing your own trumpet type of thing. Here's a 5-star review. It's people see the 5-star reviews. Guess what? They'll actually go and do the research before they go and buy your car from you, and they'll see the 5-star review themselves. Then I push it under their nose. But a way of doing it is, here's a happy customer. Or even better still, we always profess to be the best at what we do. We're not the cheapest, okay, but we're the best. We'll look after you 100%. So you almost want the car to break down to prove to the customer how good we are. Now, you don't really want it to break down, but you know what I mean. You want to prove to them. So how you prove to, so here's a great thing. Get the customer to tell everybody about when the car broke down, but what the garage did to sort it out. Get that, because that fills a void which is not actually there just now. It's one of the biggest problems is, we're all car dealers, and the reality is there's a big fear out there that customers fear the fact of buying a car from a car dealer, because they just don't know if it breaks down what is going to happen. Yeah, and we all know there's rogues still out there, because I read the forums as well. I don't actually put anything in there at all, but I read the forums, I read the Facebook groups and things like that as well. There's some real, there really is some horrible people out there selling cars, isn't there? That's the reality. And we're the good guys. We're the good guys. Let's make sure that everybody knows that we're the good guys, and that's where to buy a car from.
Cheers for that.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Paul. There is no more questions now. So on a personal note, Jim, Phil, a massive thank you for the time and effort you've put in today. There's loads of nuggets of gold in there. There's loads of stuff that I'm going to take away. I've made a note of all the books and the podcasts I'm going to read through. And I'm sure many of the other guys on this will do the same. This will go up onto YouTube at some point. So if anybody's missed anything and they want to read it back, they can do. So I think, unless there's anything from Phil or Jim, I'd just like to hand over finally to the IMDA chairman and motor trade legend that is Umesh Samani, just to say a few parting words, if that's possible. So I'll just make Umesh in the spotlight, and then we can all see him. And over to you, Umesh.
Wonderful, guys. First, Jim, Phil, absolutely fantastic content there. I think not just one golden nugget. I think there's been so much information I think you've got there, which I think everybody will benefit from this, especially when they watch it back. Some of the bits they may have missed as you've been talking through. It's just phenomenal what you've built, guys. Just one little point. I mean, I think Paul brought up, about number of followers, 25,000, and you've got 11, whatever. It's not about numbers, is it? Them sort of numbers, as you've said, guys. It's about having the right content, having the right information, and a bit like the IMDA, having the right members on board, isn't it? It's not about the masses. It's about having the right people in the right places supporting your business. So fantastic what you've built up, and I think you've shared a lot of personal information, a lot of personal data there, which will help, I think, everybody, in there. So massive thank you again for the time you've taken out, the support you've given there, guys. It's been fantastic. And thanks again to everybody for joining us on that. And hopefully you guys will come back for another event if it's been popular. Hope by popular demand, as I say, hope you'll be back again. But I'm sure there'll be a lot more questions coming in as well. So I'm not going to ramble any more than that. But thanks again, guys, for what you've done today.
Yeah, well, and also just thanks for everybody for turning up, because that's a fantastic result. We open up. I stupidly put up 100 free tickets on the Eventbrite when I set it up, thinking, that's me being really. Well, I think we've got the 96 last night. Now, obviously, everybody's name managed to turn up today, but to get to almost 60, I think is fantastic. So thank you, everybody, very, very much, and thanks, Stuart, for hosting it as well. I really appreciate that. Brilliant.
And if there is any more questions, feel free to drop us a message or drop us a call. Happy to speak.
We're quite, honestly, we're quite happy, as you can see, we're quite happy to share the information. We don't have an issue with it at all. I mean, if we can help you, help your business grow, listen, we're delighted, absolutely delighted to do that. We can, we don't know everything. We don't profess to know everything. As say, it was a disclaimer right from the start. There's some technical stuff that we just don't use. We don't know even to use, but we do know what works for our business, and that's what hopefully has come across today. That we're not trying to preach to you at all. We're not trying to say, listen, hand in Auto Trader, your notice to Auto Trader and just go with social media. That's not what we're trying to say. Although I do get bombarded with, that's what Jim said. That's what Jim said. No, listen, that's not what we're trying to do at all. Get it as part of your mix. I think that's definitely the way to do it, and you'll definitely see successes. But remember, ask the question, where did they see that lead? That is a gold, absolute gold.
I think just one final thing. I think I think everybody thinks it's just one little place where you get all the sales. I think you say in the conversation, Jim and Phil, and there's a book that I read many years ago, and it's a guy who I follow called Darren Hardy, called The Compound Effect. And that's what it's about. It's little bits of all of it that puts the whole picture together. And it's about building your brand as well, guys. And as we've said, it's about not just selling a car off a classified platform, which is all too easy sometimes.
Yep.
But the cost involved, it's about building your own personal brand within your own area and build that local audience to come to you. What I shout about raving fans, that's what it's about, to just make your own audiences that support you and push your businesses.
Yep.
For the adverts, don't they? As you say, you post picture of a car, so we're picking up and say, oh, I bought that from Jim, and then it goes on from there.
Yeah. One of the questions we missed, guys, was what's the biggest call to action? It's just kind of spun something, just something you might said there. And we'll end in a final top tip. Something that we've used a couple of times just this last 1 or 2 weeks in reality, not just on our Facebook page for Jim Reid Vehicle Sales, but also on our Herd Hire Aberdeen and our Camper Tribe ones as well. And it really is quite a strong call to action. Okay, and that is embedding, and now you get a chance to do it, your WhatsApp call button. Okay, honestly, the Camper Tribe phone, and we've actually got a separate phone for the Herd Hire and the Camper Tribe, that is absolutely on fire this week, just by putting a WhatsApp message on there. So it basically on the post, we just say, find out more information, and it goes straight to your WhatsApp. And because people generally are, well, I call it lazy, but they call it time poor seemingly, but it's laziness, where it's easier just to press a button that's actually on that screen. And if they do that, which is what they do with the WhatsApp button, you get straight to messaging, and that's the great thing about it. You've then got a live person at the end of that. You can ask questions, and you've got their phone number, which is gold. There we go.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Umesh. It's been brilliant, very informative. Thank you for everyone for coming on to the Zoom call, and hopefully we'll see you all again on another one of these in the near future.
Bro, so Stuart, you mentioned yourselves. Could we just stay for a second? Bro, thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Cheers,
Bye
guys.
now.
You guys. What's the weather up there like, guys? At the moment, it's pouring down here instead.
Miserable.
Grey and miserable, and it's been raining as well. You missed, so it's a bit horrid. All right.
Hello,
How do you
Ian
think that'll be?
speaking. Hello, Hayden. Look, I'm just trying to finish.
How do you feel it went? What was that?
Fantastic,
Right,
guys. Honestly, absolutely.
I think it's just us three in the meeting now.
Yeah.
Because what I've done is I've moved the other people that haven't come off the call into a waiting room.
Ah, right, okay.
Well done, Stuart. Brilliant. Yeah. I did wonder if there's a way to actually move